My name is Tush Hamilton. Tush is a nickname of my father and probably my grandfather. Most fishing people have nicknames. So first of all, I'll just tell you a little bit about myself, what I've done. Been on the beach. When I say on the beach, connected with the fishing beach ever since I was a kid at the age of probably 7 or 8 years old. Had a boat when I was 11 years old, a small rowing boat. I then progressed to a bigger boat, and when I left school I done about 3 years fishing amongst other things, eventually ending up doing the same job as my father, which was, we call it going the other side of the scale, which is actually selling fish. One thing is catching fish, the other thing is selling it and preparing it. So my wife and myself, Pat, we bought and operated the oldest fishmongers and curers in Hastings, and that was in High Street. We bought that fish shop around about 1968, I think it was, and we run that for about 20 years. Now, I was taught the trade of curing. Curing is when you smoke fish. For people that don't realise, smoked haddock and kippers, bloaters, they were all done in the old town in those many years ago. And we had the last fish curing place called a D's. It's a building that's a little bit like those net sheds along there, but it's built of brick. And the fish is hung on racks. There's a fire lit, which is normally made of oak, and sawdust would be added to the fire to make the smoke, and you ended up with kippers, or in the seasons bloaters. We used to smoke whiting, mackerel, cod, whatever was available at the time. We sold the shop and bought quite a large mobile fishmongers, in which we went and traded in London, buying fish from Hastings, preparing it, and going to London and selling it, not only to the public but also to many restaurants. That little job I done for about 17 years again with my wife, until we sold that around 2002. Well, after that we thought that we wouldn't do much more, so we came up with another idea, promoting fish. So it was Tush and Pat Hamilton Fish Promotions. After appearing on I'm not name dropping here, but after appearing on a television programme with Rick Stein, the Hastings Council picked us up, and we ended up going round with the tourism team promoting Hastings and fish. And we ended up going all over the place, even in Belgium. We worked in France with the council, as far as Portsmouth, and even up in Liverpool. I come from a line of fishmongers, and my father was one of the many fish hawkers that operated in the town around about 1950 up till I think the last barra was operating in about 1970 odd. Now, a hawker, unlike a fishmonger, actually pushed the barra and shouted out his wares. Not like a fishmonger where you came to the shop. My father would push the barra all round the town, shouting out whatever he'd got on the barra. Local caught fish, placed today, fresh place, just landed, herrings just landed, and the people would come out their houses with the plates and buy the fish from them. Now, I can remember even at the very young age of about 7 or 8 years going with him, and the barras in those days sold just what was caught locally. Unlike today, there are many hundreds of varieties of fish sold in and around the shops today, but in those days it was literally what was caught at that time of the year. In Hastings there's probably 20-25 varieties of fish caught, but they're all caught at different times. For instance, in the winter time my father would probably have sprats, herrings, whiting, plaice, dabs, and possibly cod. In the summertime he may have mackerel, lemon soles, Dover soles. So there really wasn't a great selection. But in those days, people ate what was in season. Now today, the selection is unbelievable. In a fishmonger's today, you couldn't survive on what my father would have sold in those days, because people now go abroad on holiday and they get the taste of tuna and swordfish and squid, cuttlefish. So you need a lot more of a selection today. In fact, when I came off of the van about 8 years ago, I remember many times having as many as 30 different species of fish on my van. Today you can probably buy herrings all through the summer. In the old days you would only buy herrings from October till possibly just before Christmas. And every fish has its season. Just because there are place around all the year, sometimes they are not in good condition. For instance, in January they've either just spawned, which makes them thin and pretty tasteless, whereas in July and August they're at their best. And this happens to all fish. A real fish eater will still eat fish that's in season. You can probably buy many species of fish all the year round now. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, because I think personally you lose the taste of the fish. It's like eating strawberries in the winter. For some reason they just don't seem to be the same.